Hello everybody, welcome to my first Line 6 video. My name is Sheron. I have been using Line 6 products for many years now. I am, however, not representing Line 6 or any other company. I only represent myself, and any opinion I state in this video and future ones are only mine. I have not received any payment or goods from Line 6 or any local shop to make these videos. In this video, I will compare these two great units side by side, the Kemper and the Line 6 pod POD500X. And although the pod has never been regarded as a high-end unit and is priced around a quarter of the price of the Kemper, I will show that sonically it is easily up there with a unit that is regarded by many as the best. Today the pod has been replaced by the new flagship model, the Helix, and that offers many more features and IO than the pod or the Kemper has to offer. For the sake of transparency, I have plugged both the pod and the Kemper, each to his own input on my sound card, and have not added any processing at all. I've only added some reverb and logic, as I did not want the difference in depth effects of these two units to create any major differences in the sound. Let me first tell you a little bit about my guitar. This is a Line 6 GTV 69 that I've modified with a different neck, as the original did not really work for my hands and my fingers and my playing style. I have also installed a split switch for the humbucker. Okay, let's start with the Kemper. It is a great unit. It sounds great right out the box. There are very good amp profiles and you can get many more. Some are free, some cost money. You can also profile your own amp. This is one of the major differences between these two units. You cannot add any of your own amps or third party into the pod. Yeah, it sounds really good. Now let's plug into the pod. I'm using a similar model Marshall, but I've changed the cab from a Marshall greenback to a high watt 4x12 cab. I'm also using a dynamic 4-to-1 microphone model after the Sennheiser MD4-to-1 mic. So one of the major advantages of the pod over the Kemper is the fact that you can mix and match the different amp models with different cab models and different mic models. We all know that these variables can dramatically change your tone, but the drawback of all these options can confuse an average user and can be quite cumbersome even to a quite experienced player. Another thing is the Kemper sounds really good, very open and full sound right out of the box, while the pod does not. While comparing these units, it was apparent that the pod needs a little bit of help. The amp models and effects sounded great, but not as open and nice as the Kemper. So the pod has a global EQ feature, and I started playing around, cutting, boosting different frequencies. While comparing the two units, I found out that the pod just lacked a little bit of mid-range frequencies. So after boosting the mid-range, cutting some lows and highs, I got a great result, and I think I got a good match for the Kemper. Now they both sound fantastic. Here's the same sound with the global EQ off. Now I'm going to switch the global EQ back on. can hear the major difference in the mid-range frequencies. It opens up the sound. Now it sounds much more realistic to me. Going back to the Kemper, I did find an issue with this specific amp model. I'm not sure if this applies to all the other models. When pushing up the gain for this Marshall model, instead of the normal break in the clean tone and adding distortion, there is some digital artifact, like some kind of fizz. Let's listen. Now, let's plug back into the pod. I'm going to apply the same gain boost on the pod. This time, a proper break in the tone happens. Now, let's listen to the clean sound again. This time, I'm going to add the Tube Screamer pedal model. Let's start with the Kemper. It sounds good. Let's plug back into the pod. I honestly prefer the sound of the pod. Now let's talk functionality. The Kemper is an amp replacement. No doubt it does that very well, but that's it. One guitar, one amp, one signal. The pod, however, has some advantage over the Kemper, as you can plug two sound sources at the same time and have two different signal paths, processed with different effects for every instrument. For instance, you can plug in two guitars and have an amp and stomp effects for every one of those guitars. You can also have two different audio paths for one guitar, such as a dual amp setup in stereo. Personally, for me, when I use a pod live, I plug in my guitar into the one input and use it as a guitar amp cab simulator. Then I use the other input to process my vocal effects. When I tap tempo, the delay for the guitar to match the song's tempo, the vocal delay aligns the same. Also, the fact that the pod is a floorboard form factor is way easier for me to transport. Thank you for watching this video. Please watch this space, there will be more soon. I will make a video soon on how I program the pod. Maybe it will help you to get to know the pod a little bit better. I will also make a video about the Variax and all the wonderful options it offers for guitarists. Cheers! See you next time. If you want to know more about what I do, check out my website. Feel free to post any comment or send me an email.